Hello guys, so in this video we are gonna continue with the basketball shaped city. I'm just gonna add some forestry industry, really basic stuff, and then also expanding the suburbs just a little bit. It's still really basic stuff, just using the vanilla tools plus Move It, because Move It is absolutely necessary. Without that this game just doesn't work. You have seen probably some tutorials that are completely modless, but I have to recommend you to always download Move It. That's just a must. If you are playing on PC, even just for this one thing, you should get into the modding community. And it's not necessary to go any further because all the other tools are just, extras, but Move It is just an easy fix because for pretty much everything that's wrong with the game that is not resolved in the basic game. All the wrong snapping and all those issues, it just solves it, so use it. In any case, so you see I am building the forestry industry, just adding some big roads around the area that is marked for forestry. You can see the darker green under those trees, and the trees obviously themselves are pretty much marking that here you can build. You see that I have started the area slightly next to the the dark green area, because in between we are going to add, as you can see already, some other supporting buildings that are not themselves producing wood itself. So you see all the dark green areas I'm using for putting the plantations themselves, the tree plantations, and then next to the road, next to the other factories, the basic industry, I have been adding those warehouses, the maintenance buildings, such that road is for that. It's the best way to connect with the rest of the industrial area, because if you put directly next to the polluting factories, all those trees, they are gonna go ugly. I'm not sure if it affects production that much, but it's for sure ugly, so you want to have this buffer area for warehouses and such. Luckily there are now plenty of buildings you can use for that, so just do it. Okay, I'm gonna get back to continuing with the forestry area, but the thing is that you need to get it to advanced so that you unlock more buildings. Of course, you can also use the mods, or I don't know if it's in the base game that you can unlock everything, but in any case I'm playing base, so I'm not unlocking the stuff. I'm just waiting for them. In the meanwhile, I am just creating some actually functioning city, adding some parks, some schools, just the basic stuff that you require. So you see, now we have unlocked some more stuff, adding some more warehouses and buildings that are using the raw materials that are created from the raw resource plantations. So yeah, and now we already arrived where I start expanding the suburbs. So basically all that main area that was created in the former episode, they will be used as high density. Like as soon as they unlock, I'm gonna upgrade all those areas to high density, but these outer areas might remain as basic suburbs in the long run. So yeah, just still following some patterns, not adding too many roads, so there is not too many crossings, because that's what creates traffic jams. So you don't want too many crossings, but you want parallel roads to get your traffic to alternative routes. As we know from basic urbanism, basic ideas of urbanism, adding another lane to your road doesn't solve anything. So, and this game is pretty much a representation of that. So you don't want big avenues. I pretty much never use anything that has more than 2x2 lanes. Like, okay, so motorways can have 3x3, but even that is just for like the show, not for function that much. Like 2x2 motorways or highways also function quite well. So again, now the big buildings have unlocked, so we get to snap those in the forestry area, and there is still plenty way to expand. Now, originally I was actually planning to expand now to the right of the screen, right where we are, but then I decided that the lakeside is perfectly fit for a nice university, so that's where the university will go, and I'm just gonna expand the other way where there are still forests. As you can see, now the city is growing, so we need more and better kind of sewage system and water sources, so I'm upgrading them to the less polluting ones, and because they are not, the capacity is lower for these ones, I need to create more. I'm just fixing it with Move It, that they look nice. Later, of course, these will be also replaced by the even better version, the bigger version, when they unlock. But yeah, this is just some basic stuff. And yes, so this is the area where I will have the first university, and it is going to be the technical university option. So having this nice power source on the lake out there for the engineers is just perfectly fine. It really will snap in together with the other functions. And yes, so now, since we have expanded the industrial area, we are going to need to expand the connections to the rest of the city, to the areas where people actually live. So you see what I'm doing here is because this area will be home to some traffic. I'm going to make it nicer in the long run, but the point is that wherever you have such crossings, you don't want to have residential. Those areas, if you have to add those crossings, you always want to replace them with commercial. Commercials like traffic, they want all the people to get there, so they want all the materials to get there. So it's perfectly fine to have them in such areas, but residential, you want to move out and just delete from that area. So again, I'm using Move It to make this crossing a bit nicer. I like the base look of it. It's actually perfectly fine as it was originally, but you can always just smoothen out those elevations to make it actually realistic and just pretty. Like it's quite interesting that if you do this, like just always slowly increase the height and slowly decrease it on the other end, you can get like really smooth crossings, looking as if there is not even an elevation, but there is a lot of there is a lot of area in this game. It's a big game, so areas that look small, that feel like you don't have enough space to do any vertical changes, there always is. You can always just smoothen it out with Move It tool, and again, Move It tool is perfectly fine to use it right now, so that the curve is just perfect. And now this area is gonna be sort of a bowl of spaghetti, just roads waving, waves of roads snapping to each other, and as if it was woven together. It's a nice, more looser continuation of the basketball shape, the sort of flattened basketball shape. But yeah, basically, you get the idea. It kind of follows rules. You see that I am following a sort of basic pattern that repeats, but then I'm just gonna crisscross some other roads through it. It's gonna look nice. It's still really basic. It's still basically middle ground between just using those boring grids and anything more complex. So it's sort of a grid, but not really. So it works functionally because we don't have too many crossings. And even when I add in those some extra roads, you see it's still not that many crossings. It's still not too bad, but yeah, it just functions like it's quite easy and quite pretty and still functional. And yeah, so like this area is going to develop in the long run quite a bit. So some of the inner areas will get those high rises, but the outer areas will stay low density for quite a while. Like there will be even another town next to this one by the time I might consider upgrading those and pushing the suburbs out. So yeah, you see we have a nice functional and kind of it's still a very compact town, as you see. Like I'm not leaving too much space empty. I kind of have a problem with that. I always like to utilize all the areas. I know that most of the players are quite easy with letting just so much big areas empty. I just didn't grow up in such a place where that was possible. So like I know that for Americans it's a perfectly logical thing that you just build big roads between small portions of towns and villages. But I grew up in a big city where land had to be utilized. That's just how it has been. Like there has been thousands of years of building there, so they have utilized every single land that was available. And yes, just still growing the city, adding some more basic buildings. Just continuing with this for a little bit, adding the necessary extensions for all the services. Like mainly now you see we are still low on garbage processing, so I don't use that many garbage dumps, because basically they have not really a function. I mean, it's nice to have like one for the looks of it, but these recycling plants are the ones that are actually resolving the garbage issue. So you always want to have more than necessary, like quite a bit more, because even if there is traffic jams, you can still just bombard the city with garbage trucks from a distance. Even, you see, like the point is that you don't want to put garbage facilities near the residential areas, but you still need those trucks to get there. So you just need a lot of trucks so that they still manage to get garbage out from the inner areas, and it just works. Like you just need to put more of those, not like an extreme amount, but still just a nice green amount on the scale. So yeah, now we are creating the third connection to the industrial area. This is going to be one of the nicest constructions in the city's early development, because I'm going to add a nice roundabout, a raised roundabout. I know that many people are not that much fan of roundabouts, because they are of course functional, but at some point you get to design even better solutions for your traffic issues, but they create some opportunities. If you use the raised roundabouts, you can snap in the tram lines under it, train lines under it, all that sort of stuff, and then you get something complicated, yet still functional and still possible to see what is happening. Like you see, if you just like connecting individual roads to each other, it becomes a mess. You need some base shape that it follows so that it actually looks nice, and a nice little circle is just perfectly fine for that. Then now, again, as the city has grown quite a bit, we need to add more bus options to actually utilize the extra roads that we have added. So now the two areas, the industrial and the residential, are finally properly connected. People can actually get from one another, not just with one bus line and cars, but like there is like I think 3 bus lines right now. So it's actually now a working city. And now I think it's time to add that raised roundabout I was talking about. That's gonna add a lot to this area. I'm going to add more and more development to that one. soonish. There will be a really pretty tram line that goes under it, and also the train line goes just there, and the university will be connected. So it's gonna be really, really pretty. I'm adding to it several times. So this is just going to be the base shape, but this base shape will serve as the functional seed of all the added stuff to it. So just a big circle. You want to go big, so that there is room for all the elevations, all the other routes that you will add just next to it or to it. And yes, so I'm not really fixing those roads perfectly in the beginning. I'm using Move It to fix them properly. I just need to snap them in big enough distances from each other, so that there is enough nodes in between them, like at least 1 or 2 nodes, so that it's easier to move them around. And yeah, just moving them, raising them. I'm still gonna fix this again several times to just smoothen it out perfectly. And again, just to clarify, this roundabout is here not just connecting the residential and industrial areas, it's also connecting the university that's gonna be built next to the lake, basically like to the side of this roundabout where there is no development yet. And yes, this big road is going to function as sort of the edge of the city at this end, and we are going to build another town on the other side of this motorway, quite a bit distance away. This map has a nice seashore towards this direction I'm going to. So we are going to add 2 big towns. One in halfway in between the current town and the seashore, and then of course the seashore we have to utilize. So this road is just connecting, going that way. Again, I'm just using Move It, leaving big enough distances for those elevations to be smooth, because they are not, as you can see, like those. No car would actually want to use those ramps at all. And so we just need to move it out, and so yeah, because you see also this is how you make nice motorway connections. It's pretty simple. You just use this really basic tool and just add those distances, add those extra sizes, extra rooms for the smoothness. Again, I always I start with two compact sizes, and then later I realize, okay, I have to add a lot more space to it. It's like that's something that you have to get used to, that you need to utilize all the land that is available, and just leave some distances everywhere so that things can be smooth, and you are not creating any vertical ramps, like near vertical ramps. And yes, actually that would be pretty much it for today. Now the basic city is really done. Now we are gonna add the universities. Now we have some revenue from the industry, and then the university is gonna cost us, so it's good that we already have this revenue. The university on the final level will be actually our biggest money source, but yeah, that will come up soon.